Yeah, Ryan, let me tell you something about smoking cigarettes, okay? It's kind of cool. Yeah, but we don't want to do it because it hurts your lungs. But if you're ever at a party and you have social anxiety and you want to seem like maybe you're better than everyone, you go outside with a beer, your phone, and a cigarette, and people will be like, what is his agenda? And that's how you get into the Cool Guys Club with me and Jim.
We get a lot of shots. Everybody come to the net. We just have to get more and more pucks to the net.
I'm about to listen to Pucks on Net.
We used to talk about in Vancouver getting pucks on net.
Pucks on net. What were you saying about putting pucks on net?
This is JT Miller with the Vancouver Canucks, and you're listening to Pucks on Net.
Pucks on net and driving and making a hard night on it.
Live on tape from a myriad of locations. 2 locations. This is Pucks on Net, a Vancouver hockey podcast riddled with rampant speculation without sources. Another satellite hot stove edition of the podcast coming at you. My name is Ryan Chapp. I am going to be your host for the evening. I'm coming to you from my apartment above the grounds of the old haunted Burger King. I'm wearing a $18 shirt from Costco. I am identity thefting Arash. We will get to him in 1 second. First, I got to remind you, patreon.com/pucksonnet. Pledge a couple of bucks. You want to watch this podcast in video immediately? I don't go to bed until I post it. If you can't support the show monetarily or don't want to, youtube.com/pucksonnet. Go there and subscribe for the love of God so I can stop telling you. And do it today. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel when you're listening to this, send a screenshot and send it to me or Pucks on Net or the email. I'll send you something. Let's go over the Ironworkers Memorial Bridge to the village of Deep Cove. The Prince of Pomegranate himself, still no nickname, Mr. Arash Mamarzadeh. Arash, your marathon of responsibility and work is almost over. How are you feeling at this time?
Oh my God, it's only when we get Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Be there, be square, as I pick up my father from the airport and tell him, good luck, sucker, as I leave. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to still be there for my father as I am a responsible human being, and I will be there for you, the listener, when Luke Schenn inevitably gets a first-round draft pick in return.
It's a first now, huh?
I mean, how can it not be? Everyone's like, it's modest as a third. I'm like, wait, if enough of these white men are going after this hard-hitting white man who might soon have a new child, congratulations, Luke, and I hope everything goes well. You'd start to think that maybe that third becomes a second and a prospect, Ryan.
Hey, you never know.
Dare I say it? Are we getting slightly excited about the future of this team again? Just like a little bit. Just peeking the door open, looking
1 week, one comment that the bubble was a sham and a mirage, and you are back on the hype train.
Can we talk?
This is twitch.com. This is twitch.tv/Arash.
This is jswitchbladewhite.com. The king of New Japan Wrestling? I don't know. Maybe.
Arash is on a hype train here. But Arash, how can we talk about the Vancouver Canucks when we got to talk about the big game, the Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl, where your birds were defeated by the Kansas City soon-to-be Kings or the Cancels or whatever. I found it humorous. I found this one photo, Ryan, where it's like the end zone of the Chiefs, and where it says Chiefs, and then at the top it said end racism. And I was like, oh man. Football. Well, I don't care about football. Yeah, no, I know.
I just wanted to be like every broadcast, be like, the big game last night. What did you eat? How about Riri? Well, there was a game? Oh, yeah. Who cares about that?
Did you? I feel like you also listened to 32 Thoughts this morning. Yeah, you did, you goober.
I did this morning. I'm just trying to think if there was anything of note from it that
the only things of note. I mean, I love how I love how PON is now becoming this thing where we just regurgitate what we heard about on 32 Thoughts the very morning that Ryan and I listened to it. There wasn't anything new. It's just Brock Boeser and Luke Schenn stuff. We don't really need to talk about it.
Hey,
yeah.
I want to start the show off on a positive, fun little note.
We always do positive, fun notes. When are we negative? We're not part. Sorry. We're not part of that negative Vancouver media. And you know who I'm talking about? Patrick Johnston. you know who I'm talking about? Fake negative media. Chris Faber. Huh?
Guys,
how about you
can't trust these guys?
How do you think it's not? You think it's not? You don't think we're smart enough to know of the satire that Chris Faber's doing by putting Elias Pettersson as the best prospect in the Vancouver Canucks system? Silly Chris Faber. Elias Pettersson's 24.
The cupboard's full again, baby.
The cupboard's full again. Arash, there's another Elias Pettersson. No, there's not. No way.
Arash.
Yes.
I have a fun little game for you right now.
Is it?
Yeah. It's a trivia question that was so good. I wanted to ask it now because it's about what's happening right now. Here's a quick trick question for you.
Okay.
Who has more points, Jonathan Huberdeau or Brock Boeser?
They're tied.
Damn it! All right, thanks everybody for listening this week. I hope you had a good time.
Mercy Pain coming up right now. Jonathan Huberdeau, man. Oh, that is bad. Okay, well, I mean, let's.
That's a coach firing right there.
I don't know if that. Well, maybe they're all stunned.
Who are you paying? You're paying one of them about $8 million more than the other one, and they're going to be here a long time in Calgary for a long time. You think changes are coming?
Changes are coming. Maybe. Well, being the most predominant Calgary Flames podcast that I know, Pucks on Net. They get Pucks on Net.
Hey, I was watching the Flames play the Ottawa Senators earlier, right before we hit record.
Yeah, because there's nothing else to do. Pal.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. But let's jump into Canucks news for a second because, so I was thinking about it today, where there's more of this expedited news with Luke Schenn and Brock Boeser, and I want to elaborate on maybe getting your position and your thoughts on a few of these things, Ryan. But we came in understanding that a Brock Boeser move might not be possible, and the more stuff that we're hearing that Brock Boeser might be tied to what happens with Timo Meier in San Jose, and that a Brock Boeser move actually might be possible, and that Brock has been playing much better as of late, and maybe that is a we really need to pump this asset up to actually get to a point where people start viewing Brock as this 25-year-old who can actually produce. And now Luke Daddy Schenn is eminently going to be on the move. But now let's say the two players are moved. What really excites me is the thing that we've been trying to do, Ryan, is finding out what their plan is and how they're going to get out of where they are in terms of the cap and in terms of everything. What really excites me is the possibility that by moving Schenn and by moving Boeser, and depending on Boeser's, if there's retention, I know that's a tough part, but with the first that they have from New York, with the assets they'll get back for Schenn, for the hopefully some of the modest assets they'll get back for Boeser, for the first time in what seemingly is more than a decade, we have some form of liquidity. And when I talk about liquidity, I mean draft assets. And in the NHL, draft assets are basically what you use to get to the poker table and play around and get in and cash in and really ante up for some things. So is it that some of this liquidity that they have for the first time in so long is going to be used to move off of other undesirable contracts or undesirable things? Just the entire thought of that and the entire possibility of that, like if they came out and said, hey, we're moving the New York Islanders first because we're getting out of 2 contracts, or we're getting out of this, or we're getting out of that, and we're gonna, we're sending Pullman's IR and whatever. Connor Garland and this for this really great asset because we added the first to it and whatever, spitballing, whatever.
big, reasonably sized brain things that we didn't see before.
Yeah, so I wanted to get
sensible, smart.
I wanted to get just your opinion on that, in where, they're accumulating these assets. Like they have the fourth round pick from Mott. Listen, they have the fourth round pick from Mott. They have some things. They have the fourth round pick from Mott. They have the first round pick from New York. They have the return that they're going to get from Luke Schenn. Now we don't know if that's going to be a younger player in a pick or whatever. But it's shown that they don't. It's not like they're asking for Oliver Wahlstrom and that's no
Brant
picks.
Clark.
Well, Brant Clark is going to be late for his poli-sci classes. Let me tell you. But no, I just wanted to get your thoughts on where kind of the general vibe check. Now we're almost, I think, 3 weeks away from the trade deadline, so I just wanted to get a quick vibe check from Ryan Schapp.
I'm excited for what's going to happen. A few weeks ago, you would look at the contracts the Canucks had, which aren't the best, but they're not chaotic and they're not bad. Mm-hmm. And now you hear conversations and rumblings of like multiple contending teams that want to get Erik Karlsson and how they can make it work. And now it kind of changes your scope and you're like, geez, they could throw a little sweetener or take something bad back to move Boeser or Garland. Like it's, despite being capped out the ass league wide, it somehow seems like these deals can be made. And, based on everything I've read and heard this weekend, Brock Boeser went from being nobody could touch him to being every contender's plan C or D because
weird, isn't it?
Tarasenko, Kane, Timo Meier, maybe another one, and now it's like, Brock Boeser's got 5 points in 6 games under Tocchet. I think he'll actually be fine. Like, we don't know how much this is agents or GMs pumping reporters. Mm-hmm. We can confirm that Tyler Myers is not wanted right now that we know of in Toronto, but the dialogue has shifted so polar oppositely than it has in the last few weeks. So yeah, you should be excited and you should be interested. And, the Canucks don't have a captain right now. Who's their leader? Who's going to keep this team accountable? These are the arguments to kind of not trade Luke Schenn. Mm-hmm. Luke Schenn came here and got traded and came back. He lives in Kelowna. Yeah. He likes it here, and he could have stayed making league minimum in Tampa, winning Stanley Cups, and he came back here. Let him walk again, and I got a pretty damn good feeling if he wants to come back to Vancouver, he'll come back to Vancouver.
Okay. I'm that's a little tough for me because I'm trying to think of a player that has done that not only once but like twice. I don't know. Like I can't.
When
like maybe
when
like David
when has a player making league minimum and scoring no goals become this like highly coveted trade chip? Like we're not in. There's hard to reference.
It's
things
very.
In the past.
I think the only thing that can really the comparable that pops into my head is someone like Ron Hainsey, who seemed to, as he got older, become more valuable. Giving full credit to Luke Schenn, he's not only reinvented his game, but he's what, like second or third in defenseman scoring for the Canucks. Like he's having a great year, and
I think I'm third.
Yeah, and my dad, he's been in Dubai for a week and a half, and he's fifth. He's still fifth. It's crazy. Tyler Myers haven't picked up. Yeah, so it's been very interesting to say the least. Now going into the deadline, and it's very also a bit tiring, I think, for Canucks fans also to constantly be bombarded with the speculation and the news cycles, and everyone's like, any day, any second, any minute.
Any minute now. That's been the last 4 years.
Any minute, Elias Pettersson could be a New Jersey Devil. Any minute, Quinn Hughes could join his brothers, and they all go back to the University of Michigan because they're like, we believe in higher education. But yeah,
Arash, I want to get your thoughts. Mm-hmm. Because the trade deadline's still a ways away. And we referenced it earlier in the show, but it was a throwaway comment.
Oh, oh God, I loved it.
It was a throwaway comment, and it was an interesting read. It was a print interview from IMAC, Ian McIntyre from Sportsnet, and Patrik Allvin, general manager of your Vancouver Canucks. And I forget the lead up, but he basically said the 2020 bubble playoff success kind of didn't matter because the good teams, or what they also kind of say over time is the teams that have played a lot of hockey didn't want to be there. And the key team that didn't want to be there was the team that just won the Stanley Cup and just wanted to go home. The St. Louis Blues
did not want. Well,
we don't discredit the efforts that the Canucks had against the Wild or the Blues or the Vegas Golden Knights, but there were other factors at play that if that was played in regular times or the regular lead up to a postseason, it might have been a bit different for the Canucks.
When I first read this comment, I just found it to be incredibly refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
Because this team and this organization for such a long time had this thing where they just they would gaslight to be like anything positive that ever happened was akin to winning the Stanley Cup, and that's what they held on to. And the bubble was, I would like to say, probably the most significant positive memory for most Canucks fans in the last, I'd say in the last decade probably would be like the most positive.
It came at the perfect time.
Perfect time when we needed
pandemic year.
Yeah, pandemic year. We needed it. It happened. But also,
Arash coming over to watch Game 6 against St. Louis is what changed helped facilitate the direction of the podcast.
Game 6 against St. Louis, and then I remember being at Strathcona Provincial Park with Katie and having my little mini radio listening to a very faint and weak Brendan Batchelor calling the Vegas Canucks series, and just being like, all I heard was like, and Demko, 400 saves, amazing, he's unbeatable, and I'm like, what?
You got goddamn wind.
Katie, pack the car.
We're driving to court.
Where's Port Alberni? We're going back.
It was a great moment in time that like everybody needed. I'm not in the moment. I loved it. It made you feel like, years of yesteryear where the Canucks were good, but it was like the 104 point season under Willie D or however it was. It was a mirage, and they made some bad decisions immediately following it, and they are going to be stuck with the ramifications of those bad deals for a long time.
Well, it was a mirage in that I don't discredit them for getting to where they got, but Patrik did. The fact that he didn't sugarcoat it, in that it is true. There's not a lot of people wanted to be there, not because they didn't want to compete, but you're in Edmonton and you're sequestered in a hotel with a bunch of other people, and you can't see the people you love. And hey, guess what? Family, get the F out of here, and whatever. And people, it was kind of slapped together, and they're like, yeah, this is what we're doing. And, it wasn't a traditional format. It wasn't what it is every year. And then in this one-off, make-believe, never going to probably happen again in our lifetimes format, they did well. So, I mean, how can you take this outlier and say that this is now something that we can look on for future success and future consistent success? Let alone the fact that after the bubble, after that one little sample size, you had the red wedding hat, or the blue and green wedding, where a third of the team walked, and Rob Williams with my favorite tweet. He's like, wait, I get that Markstrom, Stetcher, Tanev, and Toffoli are all UFAs, but They can't all walk, can they? it happened, and then you replace those. And listen, Ryan, I remember that podcast that we had with Yugita and I, where we talked about Nate Schmidt coming in and replacing, and then we talked about Redacted, hopefully, coming in and maybe growing the fuck up a little bit. But we've kind of learned that he's gonna.
That didn't happen.
No, that did not absolutely happen. And we talked about Holtby coming in, and that Demko would replace Markstrom. And what we didn't realize is that team went on such a calamitous run, where we also need to take into consideration that sample size of that season, where we didn't have fans, where it was the Canadian division. This was an outlier as well. And then the season after that, we get, they do the Oliver Ekman-Larsson deal, thinking that the last two seasons really had anything to do with each other. And then the OEL deal comes. When the OEL deal comes on this podcast, Yugi and I understand that a lot of people, when that deal came, their initial reaction, of course, was insanely negative, or you had some people that said it is a positive. And sadly, there is no room for nuance anymore, and there's no room for a gray area. So on this podcast, when we talked about it, we went on a positive, we attempted to go in a positive way, because guess what? We were all really depressed. We were all sad. We were all miserable. And I'm going to swear again, I'm sorry, Mr. Shep, but fuck me if we didn't try and just lie to ourselves like a lot of people in this market did, to just say, like, the pig's still airborne. It's still good. He's just a little slimy. It's still good. Like, just trying to justify it, right? I'm sorry, to wrap up.
Well, we all came to the conclusion that everything that followed the bubble playoffs was bad and short-sighted, and we dealt with management that was like, no, like, we're going to replicate that. That was good. And so to have that comment today be like, yeah, that wasn't something that you should kind of hang your, plan for the future on. Like, it was refreshing to hear.
Yeah, 100%. And so, it is really frustrating seeing where they are at now. But the Horvat deal, that was a really big piece in moving forward. What they're going to do at this deadline I'm really curious to see what they're going to do at this deadline. I'm so deathly curious, because I don't think we've learned that they have the cojones and they have the fortitude when it comes to players like Tyler Mott and players like Travis Hamonic and players like Bo Horvat. They have the cojones not to come to a press conference the day after and say, well, like, we tried to move Ham Houston, like, I don't know, just like, I kind of got a little nervous on the phone, and it was like, I'm not gonna, whatever. And then Verbata and whatever, we don't have that. They have the fortitude to come and make these moves and know that there is a specific direction that they want to go to. Not to say that this team hasn't been mired with off-ice issues and on-ice issues and all this stuff, but I don't know. I feel like they hit a ground rule double, to quote baseball. They hit a double with the Horvat deal. It wasn't a homer, but it was a double, so we got on base. And I hope that the Schenn and the Boeser deals are another couple singles, so we can get a run or two in, and we can all be like, hey, yeah, are we losing 8-0? Yes, but did we get a couple runs in? Hey, progress.
We'll try to get a little more runs and give up a little less next time. Quick update from tonight's game. We are recording during the Canucks Red Wings game. It's 1-0 Detroit. Shots are 6-5 for Detroit, but Kuzmenko has been bumped back to the top to Pettersson's line. Lasted less than 12 minutes of him getting the tough love from Tocchet. So
yeah,
nice to see things are getting squared up. Are you worried about Kuzmenko under Rick Tocchet?
Dan Milstein he's first of all, Kuzmenko's gotten his money. Two, I mean, okay, this is entirely speculative. Number one, I don't think Kuzmenko in the last week or stretch has been playing particularly well.
No.
I don't think you can look at him and be like, oh, well, you just got to keep force feeding him minutes. It's like, well, listen, they have a couple things that they want to accomplish. One, they want to rehabilitate Brock Besser's value and Connor Garland's value, both of whom have been played pretty well under Rick Tocchet since he's taken over.
Yeah.
Do I have a long-term worry about Andrei Kuzmenko? No. Why? Because he's probably going to play with Elias Pettersson. They're joined by the hip.
They signed him to do that.
They signed him to do that. So I think to believe in Andrei Kuzmenko is to some form and degree to also believe in Elias Pettersson. And I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
And these listen, guys, there's a stretch run games of like 20-ish games to go. Just, and if the bottom has fallen out, and we're going back to this episode of the podcast to talk about Andrei Kuzmenko, the graceful fall of Andrei Kuzmenko. He has a 2-year deal, so it doesn't, necessarily matter. It's not like we signed him to 7 years. So,
yeah, and
again, yeah, what I'm focused on is, not particularly the on ice stuff because I feel like you know who Elias Pettersson is. I'm really curious to see if Thatcher Demko does come back after Spencer Martin was waived. To see if Demko, if he wants to rehab a little bit, see where that takes him. Does he? Can he? I don't think. I think it's really ingenious because I don't think that Thatcher Demko is gonna come in and steal the Canucks 15 games to ruin their draft lottery odds. Like I think. The greatest member of Canucks Team Tank is actually Erik Karlsson. Without Erik Karlsson, single-handedly leading the San Jose Sharks to literal points.
Stop scoring so many goals.
He's having a season.
Well, let's before we take a little breather and go into Sauce It or Toss It, the two big trade bait chips in the West are Jacob Chychrun and Erik Karlsson. Who is traded by the next podcast?
Oh, that dude, Luke Schenn. Absolutely, Luke Schenn. I just feel like Brock Besser's a longer form.
Well, I just mentioned Jacob Chychrun too.
Oh yeah, okay, that. That's a little.
He's healthy scratched again tonight.
That's a little weird. Like now, I'm starting to think like, oh, is there a third team involved here?
Yeah,
because. How do you scratch a player twice for trade related? Like, what are you waiting for? Like, if you're negotiating, like you're negotiating with a team and you're like, okay, sorry, stay with me for a second. If Arizona is holding out Jacob Chychrun for a deal, the opposition team knows that, oh, you're holding him out because you're going to trade him. And this talk or these negotiations are going really well. So I don't really have to boost my offer anymore. Unless there's a colossal bidding war going on right now in which the Arizona Coyotes are playing incredible mind games with everyone. To be like, yeah, we're scratching Jacob. And the Kings are like, yeah, are you trading to us? We don't know yet. There's a couple other, we'll see.
But then
close,
there's some chess. There's some chess being played on the other side, where all of a sudden you see these reports that the Oilers are concerned about Jacob Chychrun's defensive abilities. Like, this guy went from being one of the most sought after, modern offensive minded defensemen to he's a bit of a lie. A bit you're not trading for him to be Ken Danico. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, these little, we're watching the game of chess. All the comments that get fed to the press are fed for a reason, and it's fun to see.
Yeah, it's very fun to see. But I can also, going back to a Canucks perspective, I can also see how exhausting it is for Canucks fans because every week it's like you're getting hammered with this. Oh, anything can happen. It's been just so long that I'm like just. Okay, we got 3 weeks to go, and then the draft lottery. And the draft lottery is going to be fun because you got two little lottery balls, and then you have your lottery ball, which is really interesting, and then you have the Islanders lottery ball where, if they get bumped up to a single digit draft order, they probably are going to keep it. What if they only get to 11? What if they stay at 12 or 13 or 14? Like, well, no, actually, the Canucks would keep it if it's any. But like, if they stay at like 12 or 11, that's really interesting. Because like then
there's
then
lot
you're hedging. Then you're just hedging bets because now it's lose. Like, well, what if I Ilya Sorokin doesn't post a 940 save percentage? I'm Lou Lamoriello.
Who are you supposed to be?
I think I'm doing the guy from Clone High, JFK.
Yeah, I was like, who's JFK?
Oh, you're want a party platter? Hey.
And we
throw some O's and R's in there. What's your hurry?
And we are going to take a break, and then when we come back, it's time for sauce it or toss it.
That was very falsetto of you.
That was very Paul Bearer-ish.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! They got a second round draft pick. Oh,
my Undertaker!
Oh yeah!
Well, hey everybody. Thanks for joining us this far into the show. I want to remind you to follow us on Twitter at PucksNetCA or PucksNetCa. If you do want to support the show monetarily, you can head on over to patreon.com/PucksOnNet, where you can pledge a couple of bucks. $5 to be exact will get you immediate access to our bonus content, video podcasts like you're watching right now, access to the PucksNet Discord, early access to content, and so much more. That's patreon.com/PucksOnNet, all for about $5 American a month. If you don't want to support the show monetarily, that's perfectly fine. Just go to youtube.com/PucksOnNet, give us a follow, give us a subscription, smash the bell, all that crap that the kids say, and you can watch our podcast, our video podcast there on Wednesday mornings, audio podcast there as well as clips. And make sure you rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I just said podcast a lot there. Give a 5-star rating, a positive review, and if you listen on Spotify, you can share our podcast on your Instagram stories. Speaking of Instagram, go follow us on Instagram. Go follow us on TikTok. Go everywhere. We have socials. Smash the hell out of the follow button. That really helps us out. Just get the word out about the show and tell a friend. Force people to listen to it. It's easy to do. Just, automatic locks on the car. But yeah, help spread the word about the podcast. Help out where you can. Share our content. Enjoy the show. It's time for Sauce It or Toss It right now. Are you at the game on?
No. What happened?
Okay, Miller had the puck behind D'Elia and ready to clear it, and Larkin or Red Wing just came and took it right off him. With 25 seconds left in the period.
I cannot wait to see Lachlan clip that. Sorry.
Clip it.
Got it.
Lachlan, clip it.
Can we clip this? And I'm entirely serious. I like to clip this little part if we can.
We're back now.
Yeah, we're back. Shout out to fucking Lachlan. Shout out to him for clipping really cool stuff for Canucks fans and NHL fans. And a big F you to whomever is copyright striking him.
That's me. Elon. I'm looking out for Elon. I'd do it again.
You fucking had dinner with Rupert, didn't you, Ryan? Yeah, I see the fucking Cajun buffalo sauce on your lips, you piece of shit. Anyway, we're going sauce and toss.
Sauce it or toss it. Sauce it or toss it. Sauce it or toss it.
Sauce it or toss it, Cajun buffalo style. Arash, sauce it or toss it. A Winnipeg Jet winning both the Norris and the Vezina Trophy this offseason.
So Morrissey and Hallebuck?
Yeah.
Morrissey's really cool. I don't know if Morrissey's going to win over Carlson if Carlson keeps this up. just because people are gonna the story of Erik Karlsson, like just the redemption story of Swedish Christ coming back. I'm trying to think who have had. I mean, Linus Ullmark. No, Linus Ullmark's running away with the Vezina. No.
Yeah, I'm just saying that we all watched the Jets on Saturday night.
I could. You know what? I'll give it a sauce. Like I could give it a light sauce.
Yeah.
I'll give it a light sauce. I can see it happening. Connor Hellwig's having a bounce back year in where it's back to his like true form, and then Josh Morrissey's just having a crazy year that I don't think he's ever going to replicate again, and so. You should enjoy it and keep riding the wave. Not to say he's going to only be like a 25, 30-point defenseman. But.
Karlsson, if he stays at his pace, he's going to have a 100-point season. There's only been 14 100-point seasons from defensemen, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are Bobby Orr, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are Paul Coffey. So pretty damn elite company.
Pretty damn.
I'm cheering for him. We touched on this earlier, but sauce it or toss it. Toronto having interest in Tyler Myers.
Yeah, gonna toss it. I think that was just like clickbait. I just don't see how they can fit him.
He's too tall.
No, it's not. Yeah, he's just too tall. But also just
can't fit him.
Just doesn't. Yeah, good joke. I got it. Well done. Everyone, give Ryan Chapp a round of applause. I just don't see them carrying a $6 million cap hit on the books onto next year.
Yeah.
But I mean, Kyle could do the thing where he trades next to nothing for him, trades Tyler Myers to Toronto, and then Toronto, because they have unlimited money, pays the bonus and then trades him for more than they traded the Canucks for him. In the offseason. I could see maybe that. That's like the only pathway I can think of.
Sauce it or toss it, Arash. 9:15 p.m. start times for NHL games.
Okay, well, listen, I'm a sick fuck, so I'm going to say sauce it because I love staying up late. I love the nighttime. Before Arcade Fire got canceled, Here Comes the Nighttime. That was my jam. Also, I'm so fuck you, Win Butler. Why did you do that? God damn it! Now I'm upset because I'm thinking about the Arcade Fire, one of my favorite bands. Anyway, I'm gonna sauce it because I'm a sick puppy. I love late start times. We were talking about it in the chat. One of my biggest fantasies is to go to a Canucks playoff game where it's in like quadruple overtime. It's like 1 a.m. Sadly, when we were talking about 2007, I was unfortunately below middle class, so I didn't have enough money to go to the Dallas Stars Vancouver Canucks Game 1, where Henrik Sedin scored in triple overtime?
I think 4 overtimes.
I think it was 3 overtime. Triple overtime.
It was long. I like a late game. It reminds me of the Winter Olympics here, where they would have 3 games a night at Rogers Arena, and there was it was like a 9er start, and like I don't know, like a 7. If you're occupied from 7 to 9:30, it kind of takes both sides of your evening out. So I'm like, build up to a 9 o'clock game. Like, if you can do it, if you can swing it, you're up till 11:30. It's not the worst thing in the world.
It's not the worst thing in the world, and like, listen, it's also like, it's gonna sound weird, but it's also also pretty fun. Like, I'm not gonna lie, maybe it's a foreign thing in terms of my parents, but we love the spectacle of like staying up late for something, an event. So it's really fun.
Speaking of events, sauce it or toss it, Arash. Rihanna's halftime show.
Toss it, and to anyone who said it was boring, I'm tossing you.
She's pregnant.
She's pregnant. She's also Rihanna. Okay, I'm gonna go off. Ryan brought it off. Ryan, go. Ryan's heard this before. But this is the deal, okay? There's this argument that the Super Bowl halftime show has to be a spectacle. That's false. Categorically false. It does not need... Good, get a book out. Stuff white people like. What do white people like? I don't know. The Black Eyed Peas. The worst halftime show in Super Bowl history. My argument just being that it's not the spectacle, it's the artist, and the artist determines what the show will be. So if you were going into Rihanna and expecting Rihanna to get dropped off by a plane of 15 drones, while that's just not who she is. That's never who she's been. She's the bad bitch from Barbados whom doesn't give a fuck about anything. She was sick as hell. I thought had attitude. I thought was in her element. She also hasn't performed in 7 years. She's pregnant. Her catalog of music stands close to alone. By the end of her career, she's going to have the most insane catalog of pop hits. And if you think that she needed more costume changes or set changes or guest acts, well, guess what? Like I brought it up, the Black Eyed Peas and Maroon 5, they had to have set changes and costume changes and all this shit, a ton of stuff. Do you know why? Because as artists, they weren't compelling enough by themselves. They were not compelling enough to stand there like Michael Jackson popping out from the floor and standing there while the entire crowd waited for him to move. And he knew that he could pop out from underneath the stage and just stand there. And know he could hold that moment. Why? Because he's Michael fucking Jackson, just like Rihanna has the entire ability to perform like she just woke up out of bed. She's a bad fucking bitch with an insane amount of confidence, an insane amount of cool, an insane amount of vibe. And she's able to do that. So, sorry guys. I'm sorry if you disagree with me and I might have tilted you while you're listening to this, but I've heard a lot about this Riri slander. I just won't have it. It was awesome. Also, Ryan, we watched it together. Was that one shot?
Whoa. I had to rewatch it because a couple of jabronis I was there with talked through the whole damn thing.
Wouldn't be me, Matt Kerr, Andrew.
Yeah, it wouldn't be you, Buck passing my Mars a day.
Hey, it's my restaurant. I'll talk however I want to talk. Okay?
Speaking of your restaurant,
don't make me do my
sauce it.
I will sauce you. I'll toss you, pal.
Sauce it or toss it. Overeating during the Super Bowl.
Oh, toss it, dude. Oh my God.
I felt so gross leaving your place.
Dude, I was like, my body was like, why would you do this to me? I mean, shout out to the food that was brought. Chicago mix. We got fries. We had those jalapeno popper things. Chicken wings, even though I don't eat chicken.
Very beige meal. Very American meal. It was
meal.
American spread.
And the thing is,
hang on, think about it. Chicago mix, buffalo wings,
freedom fries,
New Orleans French fries from the Louisiana because that's a French district, and that's everything. That's all and Budweiser, the king of American beers.
Steve Weisers, what? Yeah, it was a great time. Yeah, but I'll toss that. I mean, I'll inevitably do it again next year.
Oh God, yeah.
God, yeah.
What else are you gonna do that day?
Nothing, pal.
Sauce it or toss it, Arash. Moving Erik Karlsson can't be done this year.
Oh man, that's a great one. I think they if San Jose is going to move Erik Karlsson, it has to be now. Like, the deal might not make sense, or not make no sense. The deal might not be great for San Jose, but you have to pick in terms of his value on that contract. You have to be like, okay, this is like a 2008. We have to sell our mortgage bonds before the stock market opens. And they're like, but you're going to lose this much money. It's like, well, if we don't sell these bonds, we're going to lose everything. So would I rather lose 40 million or would I rather lose the entire company? I'd rather just lose $40 million. And that's how I view Erik Karlsson. Not that he's a bad player. It's just that contract and his age and his injury history. So if San Jose is going to move Erik Karlsson, it has to be this. It has to be this year. Because he's not going to... Is he going to replicate what he's done this year, Ryan? I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know, because if he goes to a contender, the contender is not going to let him do whatever the hell he wants like San Jose does.
Well, I mean, San Jose is just like, listen, you got skates on? All right, go have fun. Structured.
You played we'll play defense. You do whatever you want out there.
Play Rover. No, Jackie, don't play Rover. I'm doing Rover, coach. Jackie. Yeah. Semi-Pro, an amazing film. So funny.
I disagree.
What? Everybody love everybody. The alley-oop segment, Ryan? The alley-oop scene?
Yeah.
Listen, Jackie, people can't just go flying through the air like that. My dog's barking like, oh, look at... Oh, wait, can we listen to her on the... Wait.
I hear.
Zeph, did I bring up Jackie Moon and you got a little upset? Huh? See, Ryan, she doesn't agree with you. She loves semi-pro.
Sauce it or toss it, Arash. This is the worst NHL season of the salary cap era.
Oh, toss it. I don't think. There's been a lot of really great narratives since the salary cap era.
Yeah, since 05, 06.
Oh God. That's a really tough question, Ryan, because I mean that's a really long stretch of time for me to think about. I'm trying to think. I mean, the worst season has to be the COVID season.
You could say that.
I'll toss it because I mean that season was just. Yeah, I can't even remember what happened during the COVID era. Like that season, like the last thing that popped in my head was like Bo Horvat having a good stretch run, but the Canucks actually losing quite a bit.
Yeah,
and then COVID happened in March, and then they got that last extended playoff position, that play-in spot.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the 2021 year.
No, that season. So, no. The Canadian... No, Ryan. My Botford project year. No, that sucked. That was the worst. The Canadian division year sucked. Ryan, sorry. Remember when Tyler Toffoli scored like a fourth of his career total goals against the Canucks in like 1 month?
Yeah, but that was a bad season for the Canucks. But for league-wide, this has been an abysmal year.
Tell me, really, like what? I don't know.
Let's start.
There's been like, I think the narratives, like McDavid's had a really great year. We have Boston, the Metro just being as crazy as it is. We got Torts in Philly, Pacific.
We got Philadelphia. We got players refusing to wear Pride uniforms. We have entire organizations.
That's the Rangers.
Island, yeah,
and the Islanders.
We've got a cap hell. Nobody can make a move. Everybody assuming the cap's going to go up, but Bally Sports is going bankrupt, and that could be literally changed the entire scope of revenue for the NHL. It's bad. And then I selfishly put this in so I could rant. You add a second team. Your divisional rivals are only playing each other 3 times a year now. You have this lopsided schedule, so everybody plays everybody. You've got the Battle of Ontario or the Battle of Alberta happening, once before Christmas and then twice in April or whatever. Like there's no flow to this season. Games don't really mean anything, and with teams being so capped out, just waiting for the deadline or waiting for injuries, like there's not much intrigue in the regular season. This is a hurry up and get to April year, and it kind of stinks because even how engaging and how captivating was the other 3 big sports, the big 3 North American sports around this time or last year. Like the NHL is just kind of sitting around fluttering, and it's kind of a buzzkill.
Yeah, I think everyone's also in the NHL. They're recalibrating. They're recalibrating after COVID and everything to see how things go. That's one thing is that you're seeing all these businesses and all these not only the NHL and the NBA and the NFL, but you're looking at businesses reevaluating what their models are going to be post COVID. As much as we want to say that COVID's over, but COVID had a large standing impact because we changed these infrastructures, these commercial infrastructures to be sustainable through these 2 or 3 years of unknown periods of time. And now we can't just immediately go back to those previous models before. So, the NHL in terms of the cap and everything, yeah, I can agree. And again, I can see your perspective on that, where it's like, fuck, man, like you're right. Like Vancouver's made, like the Canucks have made like 1/3 half of the trades that have occurred in the NHL. Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, and the best team in the league, the Boston Bruins, A, they're the Boston Bruins, but B, they're not lighting the lamp like they're the 76 Montreal Canadiens. It's rather, unremarkable style of hockey. Oh, and because of Sportsnet now, we're only subjected to listening to Jack Edwards talk, who seems to be getting worse and worse and slower every year.
It seems like he's a nerd. I don't know, Ryan. Does this vibe to you that he might seem like he's a bit of a nerd? And I know that he won't. Unfortunately, Jack Edwards cannot respond to me because he has blocked me on Twitter. That's a good question, Ryan. Who's the most famous person who's blocked you on Twitter?
I don't really get blocked that often, not by famous people.
Oh, okay. That's a buzzkill. Could you imagine if Barack Obama blocked you for whatever reason, and you're like, "Wait, what did I say to Barack?"
Oh, right, that thing.
Oh, that thing. Oh.
Show us your birth certificate.
I'm not saying what you think I said, but I'm just saying that he looks like, and I'm not going to say what you think I said. You can't say it, you can't do it. Yeah, no.
Matt, let's go to a listener suggested sauce it or toss it. Matt Pisco. Boeser is getting premium ice time to sucker some GM into a trade without salary retention. Sauce it or toss it.
Sauce it. I really think they're like, hey, what? I think they're doing it into consider that. What is it going to hurt to put Brock Boeser in a position where when you inflate some of his stats and he looks better than he normally has looked? What's it going to hurt?
It's roadside beat sales.
Yeah, he either...
Put the best looking beats at the front.
Best looking beats at the front, Dwight. Best looking beats at the front. Those are the money beats.
Run a comb through
the money beats. Those are called the money beats. No, it's... because there's two avenues, right? Number one, he's not successful, and then you keep tanking. Two, he is successful, his stock goes up, you trade him. It's a win-win.
Yeah. Before we go into questions... Vladimir Tarasenko is on the Rangers.
The Rangas.
Conditional first and a fourth next year ago. They also get Nico Mikkola. And St. Louis retains 50% of Tarasenko's salary. And the Blues get Sammy Blais and a D prospect Hunter Skinner. Boy, that really bummed out Patrick Kane, huh?
Yeah, dude, wow, that is the first time I've ever seen someone so depressed that another team traded for a player that makes him completely numb. Yeah, wow.
I really wanted to go to New York.
I had a gift certificate to Sparrow.
Can't say I'm the happiest about a trade.
Can't say I'm the happiest about it because everyone knows. I was listening to New York Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z a lot.
Sounds like a cool place to go.
Cool place to go, like De Niro, Tribeca. I've always wanted to go to Tribeca.
I quite like Sammy Blais. I thought he looked quite good playing against the Canucks the other night, but most do.
I thought Sammy Blais was great, and he loves his sister, and yeah, for people who know that reference, you'll know that reference. But Sammy Blais, good player.
And finally, we touched on it last night at Pomegranate over the Bowl, but one of your bright spots of this hockey season being John Tortorella, and I quote John Tortorella on Tony DeAngelo. Tortorella basically admitted that DeAngelo now on the third pair in Philly. That is not a lot of defensive depth in Philly. Probably looked better defensively than he was in Carolina because of the support he had on the team. Strongly hinted that they've been surprised at how much work he needs defensively.
Yeah, we did. We knew he sucked, but holy moly, we did Brooksy, we did not expect this.
Brooksy, you see what I'm seeing?
Brooksy, you seeing this? You seeing this? You seeing this jabron? This Stugatz. Oh man. Did I tell you that a few, maybe 4 or 5 days ago, I watched both The Godfather Part 1 and 2 consecutively back to back?
No, but that's psychopath
So
stuff.
good. Just sorry, but so good. Absolutely. So good.
Wait, you've been working like every day for the last month.
Yeah, what do you think I do after work?
What time did you start watching one?
Let's see. 6:30?
Oh, okay, never mind. That's manageable.
Yeah. What do you know about Italians? Hey,
That's offensive Italian American stereotypes.
okay, fucking Tony Soprano.
Hey, a couple of quick questions here. Actually, no. Well, Roger R. Smith, Cool Indian 101, he asked us...
Coolest person.
Very cool. He sent me a Voodoo Child cover, which got me fired up. I listened to it at work.
Sick.
It wasn't him. It was just a
Could you
band, but
imagine if it
pretty good.
was?
He plays guitar. He could do it. Roger, go get yourself a Crybaby Wah, and we'll talk.
Roger, go fucking shred, my son.
Well, he asked who was going to win the Super Bowl, and I probably would have picked the Chiefs because I love football that much. But his first thing he mentioned was he's going to try the new Dunkaroos.
Oh, the new Dunkaroos. What's different about the new Dunkaroos and the old Dunkaroos?
I'm putting
Was
this
that
out there,
was that
kids.
kangaroo problematic? Did they have to change?
He keeps putting things in his sack.
Listen, mate. Listen, this kangaroo does not signify Australians. All right, we're not just hopping around putting cookies in sugar. We're not doing it.
It's offensive.
Oh no, I forgot we have Australian listeners. I'm sorry. Okay, would it help balance everything out if I did something against Iranians? Listen, okay, Arash,
do every week on this show.
Listen, what you need to do is talk on the podcast and not have 4 tabs on different places in which you can find your Nike shoe. Can I tell you what can I actually, before we get into something else, can I tell you what we're going to talk about in 5 minutes for paying?
Yeah,
we're going to talk
for all
about
you
the
$5
fact
backers.
that I just learned, and I did not know this. I just learned that this shoe that I'm wearing, that I've worn for a few years, is called a Nike Roche. This shoe was actually designed by Kanye West, and I didn't know that. So for 5 minutes for paying, I'm gonna ask you, Ryan.
Okay.
Is how problematic is that? I didn't know this. I
have the answer.
I bought this shoe at the Nike outlet like 3 years ago, and I've been walking with it the entire time being like, this is the most comfortable shoe I've ever bought. Not only that, it has held up through me working at Pomegranate, through the most arduous, through heat domes, through atmospheric rivers, through people asking me if they can take their beer to the park while I poured it for them.
It survived a deconstructed Americana.
It survived the deconstructed Americana. So I'm just, I don't know.
That's coming up on 5 minutes.
That's
That's
absolutely coming up.
But to touch on Roger, the new, basically since Dunkaroos were invented, or when we had them as a kid, a lot of dyes and artificial flavorings were banned in Canada. So the Dunkaroos do not taste nearly as chemically as they once did. So
Yeah.
not the best.
Not that great.
And Tank Commander on Twitter suggested that there's been an overreaction to Kuzmenko's ice time, and it's more a Boeser thing than a Kuz thing. Thoughts? We agree. We didn't touch on it earlier, but I wanted to say that, like, Rick Tocchet is doing a lot to smarten these guys up in terms of work ethic, which really excites me because that's one thing I love about Rod Brendamore. Like, he's your pace bunny. Like, if you're not in as good shape as your coach, like, there's an issue. Mm-hmm. So, like, instilling him with some good habits that are going to make for a sustainable career and sustainable production, I'm all for. And for shipping Brock Boeser out of town, I know I poop on Brock Boeser a lot on this show.
You do, but you know what? We're here to heal.
Love Brock Boeser, the human and the person and everything. I'm not a big fan of him on the ice. And I absolutely loved, we were listening to 32 Thoughts today, and Friedman was talking about Minnesota really liking the idea of Brock Boeser, and I tweeted out, I'm like, man, that's everybody with Brock. We all like the idea of him, but it's when it comes into practice that, we're a little iffy about.
You gotta love it, pal. You really gotta love it.
Speaking of things we gotta love, it's Arash's least favorite time of the every other 2 weeks. It's time for Pucks on Net Trivia, Arash.
What's the topic?
Current events.
All right, let me just wait. No. For everyone watching on the video format, this is me. You got me. Okay. All right. You got me at my most comfortable. Let's see. Throw it at me.
Rihanna's first big hit talked about a NHL rule change in the 2010s. What was it?
An NHL rule change in the 2010s. No touch icing?
What was her first big song?
Rihanna's first big song?
Her first big hit.
In 2010?
No, her first big hit was in 2006.
Yeah.
But this rule change came to the NHL in the 2010s.
I'm so confused. So in her song in 2006, she talks about
what
a
was
rule
her first
change.
Big song.
Yeah, but so Ryan, in 2006, she had this song about a rule change that happened in the future.
Yeah, can you think about her early hits?
Pawn the replay.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Upon the replay. Great. No, that's a great question. Okay. Great. Well done, Ryan. No shame on Ryan Schapp for that one. Upon the replay.
Rihanna.
Oh God.
Is from Barbados.
Yes.
So are the parents of this former Washington Capital who scored a very big overtime goal against the Boston Bruins.
Is it Devontae Smith-Pelly?
Against the Boston Bruins.
Oh, Joel Ward. Sorry.
That is correct.
Oh God, wait, is that racist?
No, because if you were thinking about...
Well, no, it's not. It's not because Devontae Smith-Pelly actually scored an overtime goal for Washington. Oh,
Washington.
God.
Yeah.
I'm rocking a tightrope. Is the third question also Rihanna?
Rihanna
God, Ryan
was born in 1988.
Yes.
Which would have made her eligible for the 2006 NHL entry draft.
Yeah.
Who went first overall in that draft?
In 2006?
Yeah. It's a Claude Giroux year?
Yeah, was Patrick Kane?
No, that is incorrect.
2006. Wait. So it was that was the Backstrom draft, right? Yeah, that was the Nick Backstrom draft. 2006.
Nick Backstrom did not go first overall.
No. I mean like that, but that's the draft that he went in.
Maybe, I don't know. It was in Vancouver.
Who was first overall in 2006? It wasn't John. No.
Okay.
It wasn't Jonathan Toews. It wasn't Backstrom. So then it couldn't have been Patrick. Okay, wait. Can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
One, was it a defenseman?
Yes.
Was it the St. Louis Blues?
Yes.
Was it Eric Johnson?
That's
sick.
correct.
Yes. Okay, great.
True or false? Eric Johnson has 3 goals this year.
True.
False. He has 0.
Okay. All right. No, that's the Ryan question. Okay, no worries. What's the next one?
Rihanna's last album
Ryan. Yes.
was Needed Me in 2016. The Pittsburgh Penguins needed this American-born player to win the Stanley Cup in that year.
Phil Kessel.
That's correct. Now, this is an over-under scenario.
Okay. I'm always concerned that when you give me a question and I get it easily, I'm like, okay, what's the catch?
There were 73 points in the Super Bowl last night.
Yes.
Is that more or less than the goal differential of this year's Boston Bruins? So a plus 73.
Less.
That's correct. The Boston Bruins are a plus 81 on the year.
Yeah, Linus Ullmark's winning, and I think if there was anything about like the argument that a team, like a player, a goalie behind a team that good shouldn't win the Vezina, like I think maybe that's my team.
You survived trivia.
I did really good. I am very proud of myself. Ryan, I am also proud of you for Rihanna being so part of current events.
Current events. And you even had an extra one there. You didn't even know about it.
I didn't even know. And now, Ryan, we go into 5 minutes for paying, where we decide my fate of whether or not I have shoes to wear to work tomorrow.
Coming up on 5 minutes for paying, are Arash's Nikes problematic? We'll discuss and we'll break it down and reveal the answer right now on patreon.com/pucksonnet in 5 minutes for paying. We'll see you next week.